Hello, thank you for clicking on my video. I'm Dave and my channel is all about things that you can do with tech. Once again, my own projects have been set aside, delayed, due to prioritizing the needs of the 501c3 with which I'm affiliated. So the next project I'd planned, comparing some CPU cooling solutions, will have to wait while I do an appliance solution. The 501c3 needs a video recording solution for someone who is not computer savvy, not tech savvy. They've never touched a computer, they don't want one, but the nonprofit would like for that person to be able to record their activities in order to share with others. So what I envision is this: an inexpensive one-touch video recorder using Ubuntu and OBS. The user will simply press the start button, OBS will launch at boot and begin recording. OBS will record for a set amount of time and then stop and save. The user will turn off the computer, and I'll come by later to collect and edit the recordings, preparing them to be shared. Minimal interaction, like turning a light switch on and off. Now I know doing a forced shutdown of the computer is not ideal, but for our purposes for the present, I don't see it to be a problem. So what I'll do, I have this old cheap HP Pavilion bought a number of years ago. It was set up first for homework for a teen and then repurposed to serve as my workstation for the nonprofit. And it's not presently being used, so I'll repurpose it once again. Now it seems to me I did a couple of mods on it. I did a video card. I think I might have done a drive change on it. I did migrate it from Windows 7 to Windows 10. That was actually the first migration that I did to Windows 10, and I followed that with 6 more at home, myself and other family members, and then I did another couple for the same 501c3. So, what we're going to do, I have this little desktop box, an HP Pavilion. I'll pull and save the Win10 drive. I'll add an SSD, load Ubuntu and OBS. I'll add a Logitech 920 webcam that I already have on hand. I'll use a tripod that I'm not presently using, and I'll just use the webcam's internal microphone for recording. After testing it, I'll take the computer, tripod, keyboard, mouse, monitor, take all of that to the facility, set them up to record the scene as we want it to appear for the 501c3. Once I have it set up, it'll be headless. No need for a keyboard, mouse, or monitor until I come to collect the video files. I'll edit them and then prepare them for posting. And after I'm done testing it, we'll ask our other associate to give it a try and we'll see how it goes. The rest of this video will basically be a fast forward of viewing my setup process, and I'll include in the show notes some details on the specific steps needed in order to make this one-touch video recorder work. Enjoy. So this is the little HP that we're going to modify and create a video recording appliance. And so we're going to pull the side first, and we have some work to do. The drive cage is below the optical drive. So to get at it, we need to remove the fan. It may be possible to take the front off and take the optical drive out that way. I'll explore that and see if I can do it that way. That'll be simpler if I can. But if not, then this heatsink will have to come off so that the optical drive can slide out this way. And then I'll have access to the drive bay underneath. And we'll just set the fan back out of the way a little. I'm going to go ahead and remove the fan completely, just to get it out of my way. Let's see if we can take the front off. Release the tabs. I get it where you can see it here. Release the tabs, and the door was able to swing open, and then it's removable. So that's out of the way now. So to remove the optical drive, we first disconnect it. There we go. Now, pull that lever and swing it so that the tab isn't holding it in place anymore. The optical drive slides out. So we'll set the drive out of the way. It's a star drive or a slotted screwdriver, so it is a combined cage for both, and to release it I have to take some screws out of the front. So 1, 2, 3 screws in the front. There are a variety of toolkits you can get that have the star drive, and I do have them. It was just convenient to use the slotted driver. So, oh, I see. There we go, right like that. And now it can be brought up. Remove the cables, and I can remove the drive and install the 2.5 inch in there. So slide our drive out, and Western Digital Blue WD 5000 AAKS 500 gigabytes. So we'll put it away for safekeeping, and holes don't line up well. I thought I could do that without a sled, but it looks like I will need to use the sled. I think I'll use these. And like that. Old mechanics trick my dad taught me. He was an auto mechanic, and so he said always start all of them first, and then snug them up. So then the next step, slide the sled into the cage. And then the same screws that were holding the hard drive in, we'll just use them to mount the sled. So, cage is ready to be put back into the case. And it may be easier to go ahead and hook this up right now, so I'm going to do that. And bring it in. There's a couple of tabs that slide, insert tab A into slot B kind of arrangement. And then just reinstall the screws that I took out. Now, so we just reconnect our cables. Cables are all reconnected. Then this lever right here is the toolless retention system. Slide the drive back in until it sets into a detent, and then that lines the hole up so that that can just drop right in and hold it in place. That just snaps right back on. This case fan brings in cool air from outside the case. So we're going to go ahead and get it reinstalled too. So fits in that way and then just snaps in, and then one retaining screw. And slides back on. One retaining screw back here, and the case is fairly flimsy sheet metal, so it'd be real easy to strip this, but it's not a knurled screw, so I find it necessary to use a screwdriver. The next step is to install Ubuntu. Since I've already done a video about installing Ubuntu, I won't show you that again. I'll let you take a look at the other video. And I will be using 2004 rather than the 1804, which is what the other video was. Both of them are long-term support, but I'll go ahead and get that installed, and then I will come back when I'm ready to start doing the setup to make this my recording appliance. So, back in a bit. This is the OBS website, and they provide instructions for installing from their website on Ubuntu, which is what we're doing. They actually provide instructions for all the major distributions. But what we need to do first, ffmpeg is required, so we use this command in terminal to install it, and then we use these commands in terminal to install OBS Studio. Now you can get OBS from the App Store, but I don't like the Snap version that's available in Ubuntu Software. I've had a little bit of difficulty with it, so by coming here I've gotten around those difficulties. And they do tell you here on the OBS site that because the Snap version is unofficial, they're not they're not accepting responsibility for the problems that you have with it. So I'm coming here and I'm not finding the problems when I do it this way. The Snap just does not seem to work as well. So as you can see, I have installed Ubuntu. I've installed OBS. I've also installed simplescreenrecorder, and I'm using simplescreenrecorder to record what you see. What I'm going to show you are the settings for OBS so that it will do a timed record. What you need to do is come up here to Tools, Output Timer, and Stop Recording After, and set it for the amount of time you want it to record. I will include in the show notes the way to set up the start of Ubuntu so that it will automatically launch OBS and OBS will automatically start recording. And with this setting that I've just shown you in Tools, it'll automatically stop recording, and so now I have a very simple recording appliance for someone who's not computer literate to use. So as you can see, we are at the OBS website, and these are launch parameters that can be used when you launch OBS. So this would be done typically from the terminal or as an automatic start with boot. And the one that we want is this one right here. So that parameter is what we will add in our file that tells Ubuntu how to start. And so we'll copy this and save it to a notepad, and it'll be available for our use when we edit our configuration for starting. So what I want to show you next is how to get OBS to launch at startup. So this is the site, and I'll have it in the show notes. This is the site that tells you how to do it with Ubuntu 20.04 and later. Now, it's a little bit more complicated, but you can do it with earlier versions as well. But 20.04, it's dead simple. Come here to Programs, do Start, and Startup Applications. And you see here I've already added it, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. When I started, I just had these two. Well, I've added this one. The way I did it was by clicking Add. And this is the entry that I added. I just called it OBS, and this is my command for starting it, OBS with the parameter -- start recording. And this is my comment, launch OBS on boot and start recording. So save that, and when you boot, it'll automatically launch and start recording, and then it will quit after you've set the timer to have it quit at a certain time. So there it is. Simple, easy to do. And now I have a video recording appliance. I will include this information in the show notes so that you will know how I have modified Ubuntu, and these are some important things to do in order to get started, and so you'll see that in the show notes. There we go. It is working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.